Five Nights at Freddy's is such a baffling series of games, not because of the gameplay itself. The gameplay is like watching paint dry. I'm talking about the story. Scott Cawthon as a writer just kinda doesn't understand how clarity works. He just hides clues that only lead to more clues. So when this guy's in charge of writing an entire movie, I watched the original movie when it came out, and I thought it was pretty good, despite the fact that it didn't really have anything to do with the games besides Bonnie just being there sometimes for like 2 seconds. The second movie, however, was probably one of the most interesting cinematic experiences I've ever witnessed. They cast Matt Penn as Toy Bonnie, who is in charge of this movie. Oh yeah. There's so much focus on lore in this movie, way more than the first, and I actually like that approach more. It makes it feel more connected to the games, even though it's technically like its own thing. And that fact really shows with the fact that Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton apparently aren't the same guy and are two separate people, which is not how it is in the games unless MatPat has just gone crazy.
I just want to boop your nose.
The Michael Afton, son of William Afton, shows up in the movie in 2 scenes, and the last one he's in, he just says he's Michael Afton and then gets knocked to the ground. This is insanity. I'm gonna give a very poor plot summary of the movie and why it might be the best thing ever. If I miss anything, the movie starts with a flashback to 1982 with Charlotte and Vanessa at Freddy Fazbear's.
I'm Freddy Fazbear.
Charlotte then sees Afton luring kids to somewhere. I don't know where. They never explain it, and I don't know what use this room has. It's just a child killing. Charlie tries to get any adult she can to help, but they're all comedically aggressive towards her.
Excuse me, there's a boy who needs help.
Go tell your parents.
Please, there's something wrong.
Go tell your parents.
So Charlie saves the kid herself, but not before getting stabbed and dying. Gotta get the age rating to PG-13 somehow. Next thing you know, Mike and Vanessa are on a date. If you don't know FNaF lore, it probably just sounds like I'm saying a bunch of names because that's exactly what I'm doing. Anyways, Abby, Mike's sister, tells all her friends about her experience at Freddy's.
But then, the yellow rabbit came.
When Abby arrives at school, we get introduced to Mr. Berg, and when I heard this guy's name, I immediately thought of Freddy Fazbear.
I'm Freddy Fazbear.
Mr. Berg is just a really passive-aggressive teacher. They try to set him up as like a villain character, but I'm gonna be honest, he was completely justified in trashing Abby's robot. This thing looks like those 100-piece kids electronic kits. We then get introduced to what that Freddy's location at the beginning looks like now due to these ghost hunter people coming here to contain spirits or something, I don't know. Here we get introduced to the marionette who was Charlie from earlier and Michael Afton who really does nothing besides run away. All the ghost hunters just die. The girl I don't know the name of gets possessed by the puppet. The guy I don't know the name of gets torn apart by Mango, and the other guy I don't know the name of gets eaten by marionette plush. This isn't in the game.
This is a complete turn-off! It's incredibly misleading!
Meanwhile, Vanessa's getting PTSD from her serial killer dad, which leads to her pulling a gun out on some random guy. Makes sense. Vanessa then decides that pulling a gun out on strangers isn't the best way to be viewed, so she decides to cope with her PTSD in her dream. This sequence is cool, until we get the slow-mo shot of Matthew Lillard falling. This just took me out of it. This is Shaggy from Scooby-Doo falling at 0.25 speed, and you expect me to be in shock. The animatronics then communicate to Abby through this walkie-talkie Ghostbusters thing and convince her to go to the Freddy Fazbear's location. The same location we just saw 3 people die in. Abby then goes to the science fair, and Mr. Berg over here purposely drops a little Chica action figure and breaks it.
Such a dick, Mr. Berg.
Who said that?
Abby runs away. Meanwhile, Mike is talking to Henry, Charlotte's father, and they bond over how they both lost family due to Afton. Henry lost Charlotte, and Mike lost Scarrett, his brother. Henry gives Mike this music box thing that he used to use to put Charlotte to sleep. Henry's basically like, hey, can you take this music box to the Freddy location? And Mike says,
Yeah.
Abby runs to Chica for comfort after getting her Chica robot destroyed, and Vanessa gets tortured by the puppet. Why? Well, apparently Vanessa has the secret code which unlocks this perimeter lock, which is keeping all the animatronics inside the building. Why does Vanessa know this code? What is a perimeter lock? Why does it keep the animatronics from leaving the building? None of these questions are answered, but the lock is unlocked, and that's bad. That means all the animatronics are free to roam the city and do whatever it is evil animatronics do. Toy Chica, who's being controlled by the puppet, decides to be Abby's science project for school and then crushes in the head of Mr. Berg. It just had to happen. Since all the animatronics are loose doing who knows what, Mike goes to the pizzeria to deactivate them. We then get dished a whole lot of fan service.
Look, Withered Freddy did the thing. It's like the games, guys.
The sequence itself is pretty cool, but Withered Bonnie just kind of gets shafted. This guy gets the same amount of screen time as Doug the lawyer, and he's just a cameo that appears for like 3 seconds. While Mike is playing FNaF 2, Vanessa finds Mangle on top of her car, and that goes about as well as you might expect. Mike deactivates all the animatronics, and then they do the stupid POV, all the animatronics when it hits 6 a.m. Not Toy Chica though, she's being controlled by the puppet, who's now controlling Abby. Mike and Vanessa arrive at the home, and Mike shoos away the puppet with that music box Henry gave him. But they aren't out of danger yet, as Michael Afton just shows up with the toys, introduces himself as Vanessa's evil brother, and says this.
Break their bones. Crush them.
Mods.
Crush the skull, thank you.
But then all the original animatronics show up and destroy all the toys like a 2014 SFM animation or something, and then they immediately die. Wow. Michael tries to run away but gets knocked to the ground by Jeremiah. It seems obvious that they're setting up Michael to be the main villain in the next movie, but the thing is, we see Springtrap in the post-credit scene and we see the puppet possessing Vanessa, so now I'm just confused. Why is Michael here? So, I have some thoughts. I feel this movie is way more connected to the games, like I said at the beginning, and would probably be more enjoyable for FNaF fans than the first. Just an improvement overall. The amount of lore carried over from the games is insane, but it makes sense. Without it, the movie would be like 10 minutes. But I have to say, seeing the name William Afton in a feature-length film that played in theaters is really funny. This is the guy in Salvaged Rage and the Afton Family song. At this point, I feel I should mention the voice actors for the toy animatronics. Kellen Goff does pretty well. It sounds more like Glam Rock Freddy than Toy Freddy, but I'm not gonna work myself up over it. Toy Chica's voice actor really gets time to shine just because of how much screen time she has. She sounds how I'd expect Toy Chica to sound, but that's not a bad thing. Okay. When I heard MatPat was voicing Toy Bonnie, I immediately thought he was going to do his YouTuber voice as Toy Bonnie, which would have been really funny. The voice he actually did do works really well, and if you told me this was MatPat and I didn't already know, I probably would have laughed at you because this sounds nothing like him, which is probably for the better, no offense. I was surprised MatPat's voice could even sound like that, but then I remembered he's a theater kid through and through. This guy was in FNaF the musical, he doesn't care. But let me get this straight. This movie is not a horror movie. Well, it tries to be, and it markets itself as a horror movie, but the only part that startled me is when the guy is holding his ghost catcher device up to the light and it just explodes. This movie isn't for horror fans, it's for FNaF fans, which are two completely separate things. If you view this movie through the lens that it's a comedy, you'll get way more enjoyment out of it, but then again, if you're taking the FNaF 2 movie serious while watching, there's probably something wrong with it. The ending is a good example of this. It just feels so random, but I can't say I didn't enjoy it, and that kind of goes for the entire movie as a whole. There are some parts that feel really stupid, like the fact that all the parents have something personal against Charlotte and Michael Afton just being there, but it really just adds to the personality of the movie. To end things off, I just want to say one final thing. Michael Afton looks like the Germa sus face. What are we doing?
Father, it's me, Michael.